as odd as this is, even back in the no rules fighting, so I've been fighting since UFC 5, and that was no rules, no gloves, no time limits, no all sorts of things. You just go do what you want to do. But even when it came to training, leg locks, leg submissions were still like the dark side, like voodoo. You couldn't touch leg locks. So, but that was my main thing. Carson Gracie showed me, let me even reverse that. Even before, my first coach, Kenny Gabrielson, showed me a straight ankle lock, and we really weren't allowed to do it in class because if you know the leg lock game, if you blow somebody's knee out or ankle, they're going to be out for a long time, and then they can't train. And then if they're fighting, they can't fight for a while. Or if they're just there to train, then they can't pay the coach or the school to keep coming. So they don't want people getting jacked up. But nevertheless, he showed me that one straight ankle lock, and I just ran with it. So I was always trying to figure it out. And then from there, Kenny and I went to Japan a couple times, and the Japanese were really hip on it. So this one gentleman pulled me aside one day, and he's like, because I wasn't a black belt at the time yet, hey, if you really want to become a true black belt, you have to know these leg locks. So he gave me this VHS tape. This shows how long ago this was, on all these crazy leg submissions. So they showed me a bunch of stuff. Every time I went to Japan, I would just go to the academy when everybody else was out sightseeing or partying just to do all the submission stuff with these guys. Then, you want to get that? Okay. Then, so my leg lock game just kept increasing, but you still here in the States, it was like voodoo. It was like you couldn't, like Darth Vader is on the dark side. You really couldn't do them, except the guys that were training with me. So this is still like 25 years ago. We were like deep in the leg lock game, and it's now the past couple of years starting to get popular, but we were doing this stuff years ago. Now, here's where it comes to be. I did this article years ago that how to beat a black belt. Because a lot of black belts, more of them are doing it now, training without the gi, but still weren't even training without the gi, and you still couldn't do leg locks. So when I was a blue belt, I was catching black belts with these leg locks. Now, fast forward, I had a gentleman with me, this was maybe 2 years ago, there was a white belt. He was training with me, MMA, and then he was training, like it was like the top 2, top 3 school when it comes to in the whole nation of like either MMA or Jiu-Jitsu, all that kind of stuff. He was still training there, but wanted to learn all the good stuff, so he was coming to me on the down low. So one of the leg locks I'm going to show you today is how he beat the coach. As a white belt, he beat a black belt, the instructor, the coach, with this leg submission. Now, the other submission I'm going to show you is a leg lock too. Back in the day, from the guard, they taught you if you were going to hit the leg lock or hit the arm bar, you weren't allowed to cross your feet. They wanted your knees together like so. Now, because they were closed-minded, you couldn't close your legs. I came up with a game plan to start getting leg locks from the arm bar. So we're going to show you those 2 submissions right there. One of them, a white belt, broke a very famous black belt off with this one submission, and the other one I've caught all sorts of guys all over the planet with this thing. They both work. And so where I was going out with the armbar from the guard, you can, and I suggest you do, lock your feet when you get somebody in the armbar from the guard. And we're going to break that down and show it today. So just always be thinking out of the box. If you're training these leg locks with your, at the school, if your coach will allow you, make sure that even though if you have it, let it go, okay? Because it's not that much of a big deal. As long as you know you had it, then it's not an ego thing. So let them go, but try not to hurt your training partners because leg locks keep you out for a long time. Because you're not going to break a bone. What you're going to do is soft tissue damage, and it takes forever for soft tissue damage. It's better to break a bone because then you'll be back going in like 6 weeks more or less. But then if you get soft tissue damage, that's like months and months before that heals. So just be very careful when you're drilling these. I've had one guy, as a matter of fact, this was years ago, I was showing him an inverted heel hook. So I was showing it, he would do one, I would do one kind of thing. And then we got done, and he still had my leg in his armpit. I'm like, okay, we're done. Boom. And then he grabbed he still had the lock on it and just ripped it and ended up messing my knee up and I had to get surgery. It was a big old mess. So just be real careful with these things. So, but anyway, we're going to show you those 2 submissions right now. Okay, so we're obviously in the guard position. So I'm in JJ's guard. Now we're going to set this up right now for the arm bar. So step number 1, JJ controls my arm. Step number 2, he puts that foot up on my hip, the same side. So now I can't pull that arm out. Step number 3, his outside leg, his heel is going to go on the back of my neck. Now that creates the angle. Step number 4, the leg goes over. Step number 5, boom. I'm submitted. Now, if you notice, from here, JJ's feet are open. Now that's how we've always been taught to finish the arm bar, because they want your knees as close together as you can to keep it tight, which there's validity to that, okay? Now, let's try it one more time. JJ sticks me in the arm bar. Boom. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is the hips. Now, if JJ locks his feet, if he crosses his legs, his knees are still closer, if not at least the same distance from before. He picks his hips up, boom. From here, it makes it much tighter. I can't pull that arm out from here. It's very difficult. He's got it really tight. So, back in the day, we were taught not to do this. Now I'm gonna show you submission from here if you don't cross your feet. This is why I suggest you always cross your feet, because it stays as tight, if not tighter, from this position, okay? Now, same thing, I'm in JJ's guard. Step number 1, and we're doing this arm bar, you want your opponent's elbow on your belly button, but again, so he's controlling the arm, one behind the tricep, one behind the wrist. Step number 1. Step number 2, he's gonna put that foot on my hip. Now I can't pull this arm out there, it's stuck, it's glued to him. Step number 3, he's gonna put this heel, there you go, to back of my neck. Step number 4, over with the leg, and then normally step number 5, he'd finish it. Now, if he doesn't cross his feet, which most people don't, my free hand, I'm gonna come grab a handful of tendon behind the knee, okay? So my free hand, and as close as you can, you don't make any big old circles, just boom, boom. As I pull this knee to me, I'm gonna end up side mount, cross-side. And if you notice, this outside leg is under his butt, because there's an expression, you can't explode off an explosion. So I'm loading his hips to make it more difficult. But in and of itself, now his hips aren't underneath me, his butt, he's not directly underneath me. So he can finish it, but it makes it more difficult. So I'm controlling his knee, what makes it difficult, and then my knee is behind his butt. So he's definitely in a deficit right now. So I have this good here. Now, once I get to this position, I'm gonna come here, grab behind his neck. I'm gonna make pressure, put pressure, 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 get up on his head. Now I'm good to go. Now his feet are even closer to my head, which I wanted. I'm gonna take this out. Now when you take this hand out, make sure you don't extend. Keep chest heavy. As this comes out, I'm even gonna be heavier. Now I have my free hand again, check that out. Boom, I'm gonna make a small circle. When I do, his toes right here, okay? So this hand, my free hand, controls, I'm monkey gripping it. I'm not using a baseball grip. I'm monkey gripping it, okay? I'm gonna monkey grip the toe. From there, if he wants to keep it there, I want it there too. My hand that he controls, all he's controlling is the elbow, so I still have my hand. Boom, now I just figure forward. All I'm gonna do is take his foot to his nose. Boom, okay? So as I'm unscrewing his foot, I'm making pressure on his head. Boom, but in and of itself, I have his leg figure forward. I've got his ankle figure forward. Okay, one more time. So, I get stuck in this thing. Boom, boom. Okay, so obviously I'm stuck in the arm bar. Now, I never want to pull out from this arm bar because that's just going to help JJ stick me in it. So I'm going to make pressure as I come here, grab a handful of tendon behind the knee. I make pressure, pressure, pressure. Boom, I'm side mount. I'm still controlling the knee. I'm pulling it towards my chest. This outside knee is underneath his butt. You see how high his butt is from here? I'm good there. Now, I'm gonna release the tendon, come behind his neck, and then get up on his head more, make a lot of pressure. When I'm doing this usually, this arm that he has submitting, I'm gonna put my elbow in his stomach just to give him, you'll hear a lot of time they'll go, take some air out of there. So when I come from here to here, yeah, give it to him, okay? Then he's gonna want some pressure. He's gonna be like, this isn't feeling good and I'm not gonna get the arm bar. That's what they're thinking. So as I take this arm out behind the neck, make pressure with your chest. Boom. Make a small circle, monkey grip on the toe. Monkey grip on the toe. Don't use a baseball grip. Monkey grip. Now, the hand he's submitting, put that on the wrist. Now I've got figure four. As I unscrew his foot, push down on his head. Boom, that's all it is. Boom. Now, as I'm doing that with my neck, I'm trapping his foot. If he wants his foot there, I want it there too. Because now he can't really move, okay? And it works that smooth. One last time, a little bit quicker speed. Boom. So, I get stuck in this. As soon as I do, my free hand, grab tendon, side mount, knee underneath there. Come, get on his head. There you go. Make him pay for it. Make a circle, grab the toe, figure four, boom. And that, my friend, is the article that teaches you how to beat a black belt. So I got a million of these thinking, and this is proven. I had a white belt beat a, I think, 3rd or 4th degree black belt with this move. It's legit. So just drill it before you really start trying to like slap it on people. So you keep that base, because a lot of times like you're like, oh, my base, my balance isn't good, and you roll over or roll off. So this is just step 1. I was going to show 2 submissions, how to beat a black belt, but we'll make a video tomorrow and better show that one as well. So I got 2 of these. I got a million of these things that you can catch people with that they're just not expecting. And if they are, I'll show you some stuff to still catch them. So JJ's on board. He puts out the best videos with me. If you have questions, comments, you can either hit me up on my IG, Facebook, whatever, or same thing with JJ, and we'll get some videos out. But until then, for right now, if you didn't know,
Now you know.